Hello children, watching PACIS TV at home. It's another wonderful day and another time for Bible stories. Do you enjoy the Bible stories the way I do? Wow, I believe you do. You remember the last story? It was the story of... I've remembered. It was the story of Daniel. Now today we have another wonderful story of this beautiful, beautiful maiden who was living with her cousin, and later on she became the queen. Can you try to figure out who is that? Wow, I'll help you. Today we're having the story of Esther, Queen Esther. Now, when the Israelites returned from Babylon, Esther used to live with her cousin, old Mordecai. So she stayed with him. She was obedient, she was good. And then during that time, the king organized for a party. So as the king was having a party with his friends, he requested his wife to come over. Then the wife refused in front of everyone. The king was so upset. How can my wife, the queen, disappoint me in front of everyone watching? She disobeyed. The queen was disobedient, and it is not good. So the king was upset. Yes, even us at home, when we disobey our parents, they get so upset with us. So the king was upset and asked, what should we do to the queen? So he asked the council of elders, and they said she should be banished and punished from being the queen, and she ceased to be the queen of this land. Because if the queen disobeys the king, even the other people watching her will say, now if the queen can disobey the king, now even us, we can disobey the king. So the king was so upset and so angry that he didn't even want to listen to anyone. How could the queen disobey the king and refuse to come to the king? So the king ordered the queen to be banished from the palace. Oh my goodness, what a pity. The queen was sent away. Then the king ordered for all the other maidens around the palace, around the kingdom, to be brought to him. And from there, he will choose one of the most beautiful and magnificent looking girl. So all the maidens were brought, and among them was the beautiful Esther. So they stayed for some days, for some months, being prepared for the king. So all of them were being taken care of, dressed up, doing makeups, looking so beautiful. And when your time comes, you go to the king. If you pleases the king chooses you. But if you don't please the king, you're sent away. So Esther stayed there, being beautified, being dressed up, eating nice food. Imagine. Have you ever imagined staying in the palace? Have you ever imagined staying in the castle? Have you ever imagined eating the royal food? Wow. I'm also looking forward to eat the royal food. Just staying in the palace and climbing the castles. Wow. Maybe one day I'll have an opportunity to visit the palace. So Queen Esther was in the palace. So she became so beautiful and so attractive. When her day came, when she walked in front of the king said, wow, she is going to be the queen. And that's how king chose Esther to be the queen. Now, Esther was favored by God. It is God who favored her to win the king's heart. So she became the queen of the land. But because they were not Babylonians, they were Israelites. They had their own God. So Mordecai kept on praying and could never bow to the gods of Babylonians. And Haman was very, very angry. And he was not happy with Mordecai. So he thought and thought and thought, what can I do to this man who does not bow? And Haman wanted to get all the praises and worship from people. He wanted people to obey him, worship him, and bow when he's passing. Do we bow to anybody else apart from God? We cannot bow to people. We bow only to God. So Mordecai refused and said, I cannot bow to a human being like me. I will only bow to God. So Haman became so upset and angry and was like, I have to do something. So he went to the king to ask for permission so that all the Israelites in that land could be punished just because Mordecai had refused to bow to him. And the king did not know. So the king said, okay. He signed the letter and said the letter to be sent in all the other parts of the country. Then Mordecai heard that they were going to be killed. So he went to Esther and said, this is the time for you to save your people. And Esther said, I'm just a new queen. What am I supposed to do? Then Mordecai said, you are placed in that palace for a reason and a purpose, and it is now time for you to save your people. Then Esther thought and told Mordecai, okay, I have a plan. You guys go first and pray, and me and my maids here, we shall also pray and ask for God's favor. So she took off her royal dress, her royal gown, all those beautiful glittering dresses, and put on a sackcloth. Imagine a dress made out of sack. Then she started praying and praying and praying and fasting and asking God for guidance until the last day. Then she told Mordecai, you people keep on praying. I'm going to ask the king for an audience, and you are not supposed to go to see the king without his summon. He has to summon you first. So after praying and fasting, Esther together with her maids, they had prayed. So the last day she prepared and went. And you know, if you go in front of the king without him summoning you, you are banished or killed or punished. So Esther was afraid and shaking and asking, now what do I do? Then after prayers, she went before the king. And the king was not so angry with her, but the king was so concerned and asked, what is it, my queen, that you want? And for her, she was afraid that the king is going to punish her because of going in front of the king without permission or without the king calling her. So she went, and when the king asked, she said, my lord, I would like to organize a banquet and invite you and Haman. When Haman heard that, he was so happy. Yes, 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 I'm the queen's best man. I'm the king's right-hand man, so I'll go to the banquet with him, a party. So Esther organized for a party, and the king and Haman came. And when she served them, the king asked Queen Esther, what is it, my queen, that you want? Even if you want half of my kingdom, I shall give it unto you. Imagine such a favor that Queen Esther had, because she had prayed to God. So she said, my lord, I'm a sorrowful woman because Haman has ordered all our people to be killed. Then the king asked, what? How? Then he ordered the soldiers to arrest Haman. And, you know, at that time, Haman had even prepared a place to go and kill Mordecai, and made even a cross and a hole But do you know who was hanged there? Haman, not Mordecai. The king ordered him to be killed. So Haman, because of his cruelty and bad attitude and jealousy, he just died like that. And Mordecai and Esther and the people of Israel were saved. And the king sent a decree or an order that all those letters that were sent earlier should be banished. And that's how the Israelites were saved. So you see how Queen Esther humbled herself and prayed, and God gave her the favor? So when we humble ourselves and pray and ask for God's guidance, God saves us from all calamities. He delivers us from all pain and sorrow. So Israelites were banished to die, but then God saved them. So little children, what is our moral lesson today from the story of Queen Esther? We should always pray to God and humble ourselves. When we humble ourselves and seek God's guidance, God will guide us to the right path. So that is the end of our story today. Thank you for watching. Keep watching PACIS TV for more and more interesting Bible stories. I'm your host, Teacher Celestine, or your narrator, Teacher Celestine. I hope you enjoy. I'm from St. Michael Cathedral Parish. I hope next time you will visit us there. So thank you so much for watching our story corner. Until next time, God bless you.